Setting team targets and support structures. I have spoken before about organizational planning and corporate targets, strategic planning, and so on. Today, I'd like to speak about planning and support, but at a level below the corporate target setting and planning and so on. And so I'll zero in to a team. For example, a legal department or a legal directorate or finance department, whatever it is, and how they set their team targets and how they structure support into their grouping within the corporate. I think it's very important because these are all inputs into the corporate. So the quality of the input from a finance directorate or a legal directorate is dependent on how they actually do the work. And so I'll just share with you what I do at my workplace. So once the corporate targets are set for the legal directorate, we go back as a team and plan how we're going to execute that work. We also set targets to exceed the corporate target. Remember, I had spoken before about performance appraisal, and therefore the corporate targets are set for mere achievement. But if you are a performer, you want to go beyond achievement. And in groups such as the one that I'm discussing, that is where you'll be able to plan to exceed the targets. So we give ourselves much tighter deadlines than the ones being expected by the corporate. And we ensure that there is a support structure within the directorate. So, for example, for a given task, we assign a champion. So there will be a champion to execute a particular task, whether it's coming up with a certain policy and so on. But then there is also a responsible officer. And within the structure, it will be somebody that will be reporting into the head of the directorate, somebody who will be responsible to the head of the directorate for performance. And the other thing that we do is we have regular meetings. We started, I think, with a meeting every 2 weeks as a directorate, but as we grew and saw that our plan was kind of working, we sought to beat that standard, and therefore we built in a meeting in between where the engine of the department also has a meeting before they meet with the directorate head. And therefore we moved those meetings from 2 weeks or fortnightly to monthly, but in between there's a lot of interaction. And during these meetings, it's an opportunity for team members to highlight whatever challenges they have, whether they need to brainstorm on a particular subject or whether they need to escalate. And sometimes it's also about support on how to deal with their colleagues from other departments. I found that very useful. I found that it builds confidence in the team, that they can rely on each other, but also to break those artificial and not very useful boundaries among the structures in the directorate. To have an open policy for consultation is very important while respecting the structures. So that is what I wanted to share with colleagues about setting targets and beating them, but also providing support to both the leaders and the other team members. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and I hope to see you next time.